So you might be asking yourself, how do you build a bicep? How do you build this muscle right here? Shall we go faster in the taps? Really see what it sounds like if you tap at supersonic speed. And don't do too steep of a calorie deficit. That's right, your hamstrings, they bend your knee. Hi, before we get into this video, I'd like to thank all my Patreon members for their continued support. If you want to follow me on my other platforms, my link is in the description below. Now, let's get into the video. Welcome to a lesson of the male anatomy from the chest up. Today we'll be exploring your arms and just how incredible they can look and feel, along with our shoulders. Again, shoulders are crucial to creating a solid looking arm. And then we'll be touching a bit on the back. We'll go into the chest a little bit. We'll see if we need to remove this in order to talk more about the chest muscles that are present on your body. But firstly, let's begin with all of our favorite muscle, the bicep. Why is the bicep so sought after? Why do we, as humans, why do we like it so much? Well, we're always wearing shirts, and it, as you can see, being summer, tends to be the portion of skin that is shown off the most. Therefore, if you have a shirt that can really show off your bicep and your triceps, it's sought after. So, do we know why it's called the bicep? Because you have two heads. Technically, you have three, but two are on your biceps. So, well, technically you have four. Anyways, I diverge. You have two bicep muscles on your inner and your outer biceps. You have your triceps, and you might ask, why is it called the triceps? Well, that's because you have three muscles on your triceps. Tri meaning three. So, anyways, let's talk about how we can work the bicep, how it functions as a muscle, and then we'll talk about the tricep and how the tricep functions as a muscle. Sound good? Great. Let's get into it. So you might be asking yourself, how do you build a bicep? How do you build this muscle right here? Well, it's not as easy as just lifting weights. You have to eat the food as well. But for the purpose of this session of learning about the male anatomy and muscles, we'll talk about just what you do in the gym. To build your bicep, you need to do a pulling motion. What do I mean by that? Pulling is any type of exercise where you grab and you pull backwards. By doing that, you enact and enable your back muscles, but also your tricep muscles as well. Sorry, your bicep muscles as well. Pulling. If you see here, if you pull something, what happens? Your bicep contracts. Bicep up, contracts. You push away, the bicep loosens, the tricep contracts. So anything in terms of a gym day where you are pulling, pull, 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 pull. That's using your biceps and your back. Now, anything in terms of using your tricep, that results in a push. Push, 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 push. Anything to do with the pushing motion, like so, push, push, that enables your tricep. Following along? Good. Again, how many muscles? The main ones are in your bicep. Remember, bi, 2. Good. And in your tricep, how many muscles? Tri, 3. Good. Now we get to the delts, the shoulders as we call them. You have your front delts right here. Those connect to your chest muscle right here. They link into that section right there. And then you have your side delt, your side shoulder, your lateral raise, and then you have your rear delt. That's this big sweeping motion muscle that you see goes under here, right along there. If you push your arms back, you can see that. That's the rear, this is the side, and then if you pull forwards like this, that is your front lat. Now, how do you work those? Again, a pushing or a pulling motion, because you have them on the front and the back of your body. When you're doing a pulling motion, you're using a little bit of your rear delt. Not as much as your back muscles, but still. And then when you're pushing, you are using your triceps and your chest, but you are using some of that front delt. So then, how do you work the side? Well, you need to do side lateral raises, or shoulder press. Not the most ideal exercise in order to work your sides. Usually that will work. Most people round their backs. It will end up working the front of their delts when they're doing a shoulder press like so. My recommendation, using the pec fly machine, standing at it sideways, having your arm grab all the way back here and then swinging around like that. You'll watch, swinging around like that. That will hit your rear delt. Same thing goes for this side. Now, one thing I didn't talk about that I believe needs to be mentioned. Tattoos. You'll notice this arm is bare, this arm is covered. Now, here's where I talk about tattoos and placement of tattoos, and just to be aware if you're trying to show something off. When you flex your arm like this, no tattoos, you can see all the definition of my arm. You can see the shoulder separation, you can see the triceps, you can see the biceps, right? You can see all those lines and how they morph into each other. That's not to say they're not on this arm, but it's a lot harder to see the tricep. Look at the tricep here. You can't really see it, and I'm flexing. It should look like that. You should be able to see that horseshoe. Prime example here. I can hold my arm like this, and you can see the bicep. You can see that separation. It's still there on here. It's still there. It's just not as visible. So when you flex, look at this arm compared to this arm. Quite the difference, even in lighting. You move around, look at the lighting. The lighting changes it, but this arm has more definition than this arm. You can still see where the shoulder connects. Right here, that was muscles. There should be like a nice little round line here, a half moon. This, right there. But a tattoo will hide some of your definition. So be cautious and conscious about where you get a tattoo if you're wanting to show something off. Make sense? Good. Now, we'll talk about the back. It's hard to talk about the back when you can't really see what you're showing. So, I'm just going to point this here, this is your rear delt. Do you see that? Do you see that line here where it goes just like that and up? See that line where it starts there and goes up? That's your rear delt. This big meaty thing here that you have on both sides, those are your lats. You'll see when I have them like this, you can't see them. Do you see how they can flare? They're not there. Flare. They're not there. So when you put your hands on your hips and you spread your arms out like so, you can see your lats show. Lats create that beautiful V taper that a lot of people aspire for, myself included. You're looking for the small waist and sorry, I had a song, Small Waist in Your Face. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. A small waist, big lats. It's called the Dorito or the Golden Triangle. I think the Dorito sounds better. Now, in terms of chest, we won't go into full detail of the chest today. That should be a completely separate video. But the chest itself, you can see the separation of the line. As you start to lose weight, you will see more definition and see more muscle separation than if you had more excess fat or body weight on yourself. Not a good or a bad thing, doesn't matter. It's just about preferences on how do you want to look. If you want to look shredded, well, you're going to have to even go a hell of a lot farther than where I'm even at. But if you don't care and you want to build strength, definition is not something you're going to be reaching for. So for me, slowly, I'm trying to build up definition where you can fully start to, see lines of where the chest starts to move itself around on the outside there into your armpit. Do you see that? Do you see, if I just go limp, you can see the circular portion of a chest muscle going around, and then it connects up into your, come on, what muscle is this in the front? Front delt. What's the side called? Your side laterals. These are all your delts, essentially. Your front, your side, and your back delts. And then your back, well, I just gave it away, but that's your back delt. And again, how many muscles in your bicep? And your tricep. 2 in your bis, 3 in your tris. And then what are these muscles called? These big honkers right here, eh? What are those called? Your lats. Latissimus dorsi, but everybody calls them lats because it's easier. You've also, on your chest muscles, you have your pectoris minor, which is a small band, and as you lose weight, the line here essentially will start to form, going up like that. And you'll start to see separation of your pectoris minor, and then all this muscles here. Those are your pectoris majors. That's the big bulk of your muscles. So like when you're sideways, it's hard to show, but when you slowly are building a chest, you can see you start to get a little bit of depth. And then as you lose weight, you slowly start to build this line, and it'll slowly enter into your armpits. That's how you see those guys who have defined chests, because they have low body fat and it connects into their armpits. So that is a quick, speedy class of your muscles. Now again, how do you work your lats? Sides, work the sides. Front, work the front. Any pushing motion, you will work your front delts. Any pulling motion, you will work your rear lats. Your rear back. Any pulling down motion, sweeping pull motion, you will work your lats. And again, remember, a tattoo can hide definition. While they can look good and you can be happy about them, they hide a lot of your work. So if you want to show off a lot of your definition that you're working towards. Don't get them in areas that will hide definition. I hope you learned a lot from this session of male anatomy muscles. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello and welcome to a muscle tapping session. I'll be your host today, Whoa ASMR, and we'll be going over muscles, specifically the tapping of muscles, seeing how they sound when you go over specific spots of the muscle, and you let me know which one you think is the best one. How's that sound? Great. We'll start with the shirt on, and then if need be, we will remove it to see more of the muscles to tap. So, first things first. Let's start with the chest. The clavicle definitely sounds different compared to the chest. Wouldn't you agree? I'd say it sounds different, as opposed to a little bit of slapping. And then a little bit of rubbing. Obviously, rubbing the fabric is going to elicit a different sound as opposed to the skin. Have a listen. Can you hear it? Can you hear the difference? That's good. Now that we've done the sounding of the chest, let's work on the shoulders. So, obviously the tapping of the shoulders sounds like you're tapping something. Let's try rubbing. Now, you may notice a little difference in the sound on this shoulder as opposed to this shoulder, because this shoulder has some hustle butter on it. If you're not aware of what hustle butter is, it's tattoo cream. Makes your tattoo a little bit more vibrant. So, just have a listen. So there's that arm, and then listen to this one. Quite a difference, eh? Just very different. This one's more sticky, more tacky is the word I'll use, as opposed to my left. Difference in when you have oil or cream on your skin as opposed to when you don't. Quite a different sound that it makes. The neck. Can you hear the noise coming out of my mouth? When I tap my neck, an audible noise comes out of my mouth. It's hard for you to hear. How about when I tap my cheeks? You have to hold your breath when you do that. because if you breathe out while you're doing that, it's going to muffle the sound. Now, let's move to the arms. We'll do the right arm first. Let's see if the peak of these biceps creates a noise. Obviously, it's going to create a noise, but in terms of difference compared to your forearm, also remember there is the cream, the hustle butter. You can ignore this. This is almost healed. This is a few weeks old. It was my whole arm earlier, so it's just a bruise. That's tapping. Let's do rubbing. Very different. That's got the oil on it. Now let's rub this side. Not too much of a difference in terms of audible noise, differentiating from the left to the right. Not enough, I think, for the microphone to pick it up. In here, I can obviously tell the difference. Now, traps. If you cup your hands like so, as opposed to tapping, let's give an example. We'll do a cup and we'll do a tap. Can you hear a difference? I can't. If you can, you have magic ears. Also, if you haven't already done this, it's probably best to be listening to this with a set of headphones in to really get that full experience of hearing the noises that you're hearing. So, let's see. This is definitely an audible noise compared to here. The difference in textures, the difference in fabrics, the difference in skin to fabric. Very different from farther away. This side definitely is not as fun to rub because of the cream on there, the whatever you want to call it. I keep calling it hustle butter. That's what it's called. It's just a lot to say. So the cream on my arm compared to here. Let's not forget the forearms, though. The forearms are crucial to everyday life. Let's see how they sound. I'm finding a difference on the inside to the outside. Especially in this crevice. Can you hear it? Let's try the other side. Not as good. Realizing now that filming this video with this cream on my arm is not giving the best effect for using your right arm as an example of rubbing. Tapping, sure, I can tap all day. Shall we go faster in the taps? Really see what it sounds like if you tap at supersonic speed. Whew. I tell you, that gets your heartbeat up. I'm breathing hard from that. never have I concentrated so much on tapping my forearm. Now, have we done the back? I can't really show the back as much because then I'm looking the other way. And that doesn't really help when I'm trying to create a conversation between the two of us. Nobody wants to see the back side of my head anyways. Now, let's do, well, we've already done that. We've done the chest, the neck, the mouth, the difference in fabrics on either side here. Which one did you think was your ultimate favorite? I know what mine is, but I'd love for you to let me know in the comments. What was your favorite? Which moment or which tapping of the muscles did you enjoy the most? I hope it was something that you did enjoy. I haven't done a tapping session in a while, and I figured why not just let you enjoy the sounds of getting tapped. It's unique. It's different. Muscles sound good when you tap them. So, like I said, we went over the biceps. We went over the triceps. Oh, we didn't do the triceps. How do they sound? They sound pretty good. They sound muscly. That's the word I'll use. They sound muscly. So, next time you want to see a tapping video, just come back and watch this. And I'm going to leave you with a question. If you could tap one muscle to get a beautiful sound, which one would it be? Hi, welcome to a session where we'll be going over the male anatomy today. I'll be your host, and I'll be your body that we'll be using as an example of specific muscle groups, dieting, how to change your outlook on fitness, and just your overall health. But to get into that, we need to have the shirt off. So let's start with that. Perfect. So, as you can see, we have a male body to start with. That's me. We've got a chest. We've got shoulders, which I'm assuming you all have as well. Biceps, triceps, lats, traps, and a back. So, what I'm going to be going over today, and before I get a little deep into this, you may notice potential bruising on my arm from here to here, and then also here. No, I haven't hurt myself or anything. I was just in the hospital where I had to get some CTs, scans on my head and neck, lumbar punctures, blood patches, a whole variety of things for some headaches that I've been having when I'm working out. They are potential causes for alarm, but that will be for a separate video that I talk about that. So, this video is about male anatomy. Your chest. Let's start there, okay? So, everybody has a chest, both male and female. Males tend to have a developed underside of their chest a lot more than they do their upper. You'll see that even myself, and I work my upper chest quite a bit. It's lacking up here. Not a lot, but it's lacking. That's not to say that you may not have an upper chest, but men typically have a lower, more developed chest, and then they have a higher chest that's underdeveloped. Up here is your pec minor, and then you've got your pec major on the lower part. Contrary to belief, whether people know this or not, chest muscles, including your triceps, are pushing muscles. And what do I mean by that? Essentially, if you've ever heard of a push-pull leg split at the gym, push day, pull day, self-explanatory, leg day. So how do these work? The chest and triceps can physically only push. There's no way to pull something with your chest and your tricep. When you're pulling something with your bicep, your tricep is loose. When you're pushing something, your bicep is loose, your tricep is tight. They work opposite of each other. So, easy ways to look at that is, how do you know if you have a tricep? Everybody has one. Where is it? As you get leaner, your tricep is about 2/3 the size of your bicep. So if you're ever looking to develop bigger arms, train your triceps as well as train your biceps, but your triceps fill up majority of your arm. Now, for myself, I've been on a diet for 4 weeks now, so I'm starting to see a little bit more definition in areas of my body that there weren't beforehand. What do I mean by that? Prior to these 4 weeks ago, chest definition, this line that you see in the center, was not as apparent. The sides here, how they start to just connect up a little bit into your armpit area, not as visible. Dieting is a huge way to increase overall body sculpture. Contrary to belief, calories in versus calories out is the most basic way of explaining a diet. If you need 2,000 calories to maintain your weight, and you eat 2,100 a day, you will gain weight over a year. How much weight? Well, 1 pound is the equivalent to 3,500 calories. So, if you ate just 100 calories, this isn't a perfect world on paper, by the way. If you had 2,000 calories as your basic metabolic rate, that's just the fancy words of saying how many calories you need to be alive to not gain or lose weight just to be alive. If it was 2,000 and you ate 2,100 in 35 days, you ate 2,100 calories every day, you would physically gain 1 pound of pure fat. Extrapolate that throughout the year. 100 calories a day can add up to 15 pounds or so. Pretty crazy when you do it like that. So be mindful of what you eat. That doesn't mean you can have to starve yourself always, but have fun. 80-20. 80% of the time, 80% of the time, stick to whole foods, whatever those may be, whatever you enjoy. The other 20% of the week, enjoy a food that you like for 1 meal, maybe 2. If you eat 5 meals a day, times that by 7, that's 35. Take the 20% of 35, that's how many meals you can enjoy. And when I say enjoy, that doesn't mean eat a whole pizza. It means have 2-3 slices of a pizza, or enjoy that ice cream cone. Don't go overboard, because you'll negate your entire week's calorie deficit. What I mean by deficit, 2,000 calories again. If you did a 500 calorie deficit daily over the period of a week, that would equate, you're catching on, to 3,500 calories, which is the equivalent to 1 pound. So a 500 calorie deficit over your basic metabolic rate, whatever that number may be, you can go find that online. If you minus 500 calories from that every day for a week, that's 3,500 calories, and that's 1 pound of pure fat that you could lose off your body. Enough about that for now. Let's get back to the male anatomy. So we've got the biceps, one on your left, one on your right arm. The purpose of them is to pull something. By when you pull something, you're engaging your bicep, pulling, and then your back is following through. Your back completes it. The bicep just pulls it towards you, but your back is really acting as the anchor here, pulling as far as it can until the contraction has completed, and whatever it is close to you, or you need to pull it again. Does that make sense? Good. Good, I'm glad it makes sense. Now, I'm just looking at my microphone there because I've already filmed this video once actually, but lo and behold, no audio was picked up on the entire clip, the 20 minutes that I did. So this is round 2, so I'm having to regurgitate what I've said, and I'm trying to keep it informative on what I had previously said. So, biceps. As you lose weight, do you see this line right here? This line will become more and more apparent as I continue to lose body weight. Ideally, I'd like to lose fat as opposed to muscle. Muscle is hard earned and takes a while to build. Fat, on the other hand, you can afford to lose it, or you can gain it, but it's easier to get rid of. But as I was saying, it becomes more and more apparent, that line. When you have a tattoo, though, the one thing I'll say, it looks great, obviously, when you can see what it is and everything, but it gets rid of definition. What do I mean by that? Definition. You can see definition on the arm, the forearm, the bicep, the tricep. See it? Same thing here. It gets rid of it. So be cognizant. If you do get a tattoo, be wary of where it is, and if you like to show off your arms, maybe just do one arm so that you can see the other one and all the hard work you've put in. Now, the chest. Push. The back. Pull. The traps are what you use to squeeze and pull something up. Holding a briefcase, for example. If you had a 20-pound briefcase with multiple things in it, you walk to work every day. Same hand. Over time, that trap, this whole side of your arm would become more developed than your other. When you're working out, make sure that you take care of both sides of your body. Because if you don't, you will start to see a asymmetrical point where your chest may be overdeveloped on your right side compared to your left, or your left to your right. Your bicep might be a whole inch bigger than your left bicep. I got my lefts and rights mixed up, but you know what I mean there. The same thing goes for your back. Take care of your back. Make sure that it's taken care of. I really mean that. Your lower back. Take care of your lower back. When you're bending over, bend with your knees. You know what they say at work, you always bend with your knees, not with your back. Now, let's go a little bit more deeper into this. As you lose weight, unfortunately, as much as we'd all like to say, that weight does not just come off your stomach. Think about it. If everybody had a six-pack, that was where they chose to lose their weight, but they didn't do anywhere else, it would look very different on a body, right? Exactly. So, your body decides to lose weight percentage-wise over the entirety of it. It might choose a little bit here. It might choose a little bit here, 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 all at the same time. There's no such thing as spot reduction of fat on your body. That just sounds weird. You can't tell your body to just lose forearm fat or chest fat or stomach fat. As a whole homeostasis, your body will lose weight from head to toe, toe to head, at an appropriate rate combined. However, the one caveat is you may notice most people, probably because they have clothes on, show it in their face the most. When you start to lose weight, you will see your jawline becomes more and more apparent. Most people hold fat in their face. That's why we mostly have round faces, because of our consumerism habits of what we choose to eat. But when you start to lose weight, your body will shed it naturally all over. But your face will show it first, because most people have a shirt on, unless you just hang out all the time without a shirt or clothes on in general. That's your interesting fact. Take care of yourself when you're eating, though. Whole foods. I'm not going to go into what whole foods are. Just search it up yourself. Whole foods, and make sure you're hydrating. Water, water, water. 70% of your body is made of water. So you'd think water would be an important factor to keep up with. And if you are on a diet, make sure that when you're dieting, you consume it's 0.8 to 0.1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, ideally if you could eat up to or near 200 grams of protein in a day, it gives your body the chance to use those proteins to keep muscle tissue. Protein is what helps synthesize and build muscle proteins while losing fat, retaining muscle all over that you've worked hard for. If you don't consume enough protein in a day while you're dieting, your body will start to cannibalize itself. What do I mean by that? It will start to use its own muscle tissues to fuel the body. Now, I know that sounds a little scary, but don't worry. Just maintain your protein, hydrate, and don't do too steep of a calorie deficit. If your body needs 2,500 calories a day just to be alive, you have to factor in, do you work out during that time? Do you have an active job? Do you have a sedentary job? Maybe you're closer to a full 3,000 calories a day because your body needs 2,500 to be alive. But throughout the day, you're actually burning 500 calories. So maybe just take 2,500, bring it down to 2,250 for the day as a deficit. Try that for a week. Did you lose any weight? Yes? Keep that same calorie deficit again into the next week. Did you lose any weight? Yes. Continue to keep that same calorie deficit. You're into your third week now. Did you lose weight? No. All right. As long as you're as long as you are consistent with that diet, that tells you your body has hit a level where it's not going to lose anymore. Reduce 150 calories. Dieting is not a race. If you treat it like one, you will fail. Consistency, willpower, dedication, motivation, whatever you want to call it. Dieting is not a race. It's a journey. Because if you treat it like a race, once you're done, if you get to the finish line, you will fail and bounce back because you are going to be so deprived of everything you enjoyed previous. If you take it slow, over even a year, you will adapt a routine, a new lifestyle where you can enjoy whole, delicious foods, a variety of them, and still enjoy that pizza, that beer, that glass of wine, that chocolate bar, whatever it is. Consistency, consistency, consistency. I'm going to say it again before I let you go. Consistency. I hope you enjoyed this. I didn't get to talk about the body too much. I went on a tangent about health and fitness. But by doing that, you can create a body that you're excited about. I look at myself week over week, and it's getting better and better and better. Do I want to go farther? Of course I do, but am I happy with where I'm at now? Yes. Do I want to keep going? Yes. Always be trying to improve yourself. Doesn't have to be by 10% or 50%. Try and get yourself better 1% every day, because in 100 days, that's a 100% increase. If you can make yourself 1% better every day for a year, that's a 365% return on investment on you. That is incredible. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye. Welcome to a male anatomy session where I'm going to be going over, because it seems that your memory is not that good. That's the reason we're going to be going over these again. We're going to be going over our biceps, both the left and the right. Why? Because sometimes they can look a little different in comparison to each other. We're going to be going through shoulders, both your left shoulder and your right shoulder, and we'll be touching on the rear delts and a little bit of the back. So, today will be about your arms, also your forearms as well. We'll be working on both of them. Now, before we get into this, do you have any questions? The answer should be no, because I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about the male anatomy of the shoulders, the back, the upper back, that being said, and your biceps and forearms. First and foremost, I think it's best that we start with the biceps. Everybody wants a good-looking bicep. I think that whether you're male or female, you can agree to that. It's that striking muscle that just stands out when you're in a t-shirt or when you don't have a shirt on, either or. So let's talk about it. Do you know why it's called bi? Because it's got two heads. That's why it's called your bicep. Two heads. Do you know why it's called your tricep? Why? Because you have three heads. Tri, 3, bi, 2. Also, I should have mentioned, we'll be going over the tricep as well. So, the bicep. What makes it so appealing? It's just a small muscle, but it's the muscle that everybody sees almost the most on a day-to-day basis. Think about it. You're wearing pants, you're wearing a shirt, socks, shoes, a hood, or a toque, or a beanie, whatever word you want to call it. Not a lot of skin is shown, but the arms from your, essentially the end of your bicep down to your forearm are exposed. That makes them the muscle that everybody wants to look good. So, how can you build it? How can you work on making your bicep look better? Well, the function of the bicep, the function of the back, they are pulling mechanisms. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you're here, you're right there, and I want you to come to me, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to pull you. What happens when you do that? Just watch. Grab, pull. Your bicep flexes. Same thing here. Bicep flexes, and if what you can and can't see is the back is pulling as well. So, what does your tricep do then? Your tricep pushes. Your tricep works in conjunction with your chest. So, when you push something away, your tricep is activating to push. Your chest muscles are helping that mechanism move forwards. Those are the primary functions. And then the shoulders, well, muscles here, their intent is to lift both front, side, and a little bit backwards. Make sense? Good. So, how do we work the bicep? How do we make it bigger? How do we make the show muscle pop? You're going to be doing bicep curls, where you curl like so, and you curl. You just take this and you curl. Take and curl. That's pretty easy to understand, right? And now when it comes to your tricep, well, you have your arm and you go up. You want to be pushing away, whether that's up, like so, or down, like so. Either way, you just want to push away to build the tricep. You want to pull towards to build the bicep. The same function goes for your back. You want to build your back, you're going to pull towards you. You want to build your chest, you're going to push away from you. It's simple when you really think about it. When you break it down, the mechanisms of your muscles is not rocket science. Although the world or social media makes you feel like it is. You can work either head, bicep or triceps differently, but as long as you're doing some type of workout with your bicep or tricep, you'll get overall growth. Now, posing. Why does it look so good when we pose with a bicep? Why does it look good? Well, it comes down to symmetry between your shoulders, how wide they are, and your waist. If you have a wider waist than your shoulders, you have what we call as an inverted triangle. The symmetry is upside down. It, unfortunately, is not, in the terms of appealing, what most people look for in attractiveness. They look for wide shoulders, lats, that's these, and then your waist. And they should all be tapering, with your waist being the smallest part. If you can accomplish that, you will look good in many shirts. I can guarantee that. So, where are these heads in our biceps? Where are these heads in our triceps? If you have your arms straight out like so, right here, there's a center line that you can't see unless you lose quite a bit of weight and your skin gets pretty thin. You're shredded, in a sense. But when you flex, you will notice there is a line that will start to distinctly show itself here. The separation is then able to be seen of those heads. The same goes for your tricep. What people look for is called the horseshoe on your tricep. When you flex, you start to develop, as you can see, a horseshoe. The leaner you get, the more that horseshoe starts to show. And tricep, 1, there's 2, and then you've got your big one back here. That's 3. Tricep, 3. Bicep, that's 2. Chest, we could get into that. And then back. As you build your back, your biceps should naturally get bigger as well. Don't make the mistake, though, of working only your biceps. You can isolate your biceps so that they're the only thing being worked. But then you would start to have this imbalance where your bicep just looks huge. And your back, well, your back is lacking. That's not something you want. You may think it looks good, but I can guarantee you, it in fact does not. Now, when you've got tattoos, that's something you need to keep in mind. If you already have a tattoo, you may already be aware of this. Let me show you for an example. When you flex with no tattoos on your arms, you can see muscle, separation, definition, shoulders. You can see where they start, where they end, everything. Let me show you on the other arm. Whilst you can still see the definition, it gets a little clouded. You don't get to see it as much. Tattoos tattoos hide definition, and that's okay. But if your goal is for aesthetics to have that definitive look where people can see your striations, striations are what your muscles are. They all go in lines. As you become leaner, you can start to see those striations, the separation of each muscle. But if you have tattoos, they will hide definition. So if you're looking to have really nice biceps that you want people to see, that money shot, maybe just get one arm tattooed or neither. It all depends what you're looking for long term. Remember, these tattoos, they're for life. Unless you want to get laser, having them tattooed off doesn't look entertaining at all. So I would just say no to that. Now, let's look at the back one more time, especially your rear delts, these parts right here. If you don't work your rear delts when you are wearing a shirt, you could have a very broad chest. It could look fantastic. But if you don't have those 3D delts, not saying you need to, but if you don't work on this muscle here, it won't. You'll have this front delt that's definitively defined, because if you work your chest, this front delt always seems to, let me show you, it seems to get used a lot more. Your sides, from doing shoulder raises like so, they get activated when you're doing shoulder raises. That's what helps you have that width on your body, like so. Bigger shoulders, you fill out a shirt better, you get that golden ratio triangle that makes you look good in anything. But where you lack is the rear delt. Work the hell out of that rear delt. You'll see what I mean in a second. Let's just see if I can get some lighting. Can't as well. But as you can see, there's a little bit of a shelf. I'm still working these as we please. As I do them, I don't have the biggest shoulders in the world, but you can see that whilst the front has some thickness, the back has some as well. There you go. You can see a little bit where that separation is of the muscle, how it runs down your arm like so, like up here. There you go. See that? Up here. Build it. You'll thank yourself so much in the future on just how good you can look in a t-shirt. Now, forearms. These get neglected quite a bit, more than people think. They get worked simultaneously when you're gripping anything. Triceps, biceps, pulling, pushing, doesn't matter. But work them separately. Grab something. Strength. Grip strength. If you have good grip strength, you can hold on to bigger weights. You can lift more weights. Your forearms will look better. Don't ignore this. I've got a little bump on my arm. It's going away. Don't worry. But forearms. If you can lose weight more, your forearms will start to, you'll be able to see these muscles. Do you see them moving? As you lose weight, those muscles become more and more apparent. This goes for your entire body. And your confidence goes up. Your overall health goes up. You become a better version of yourself. This is more of like, I guess, a little bit of a pep talk, as well as telling you about the muscles and how to work them. The purpose of this is to hopefully make you a little bit more knowledgeable than you were X amount of minutes ago, but also to just work on yourself. Because when you work on yourself, you create discipline. When you create discipline, you create confidence. And when you create confidence, other people notice. So I'll leave you with this. Make sure that when you work your bicep, you give it everything you've got. Hi there. Welcome to a leg anatomy video. I'll be your host today, Whoa ASMR, and we're going to be going over the legs in some detail, but we're going to make sure that you understand what these muscles are, how they work, and we'll make it so that you understand in simplistic terms. So, let's get into it. The first muscle that we're going to be looking at is the groin area. That's your upper leg area here. Essentially everything on the inside of your leg, all the way up to where your groin creates that crease. What does your groin do? Well, you have adductors. That's these muscles right here on the inside of your inner thigh. What do they do? Well, they adduct. They pull your legs towards each other. Like when you squeeze your knees together like this. When you squeeze your knees together like so. Your adductors are doing their job. That's a very important job because it helps with just, you wouldn't be able to pull your legs in if you didn't have adductors. So make sure you take care of these and work them. Don't strain them too much though. You have three muscles in your adductors as well. You have the adductor longus, the adductor magnus, and the gracilis. I won't go into detail as to where they are, but those are the three muscles that you have on your adductors. Think of them like the muscles that help you hold the ball between your legs. So you have a ball here like this, and it's going to hold your legs. It's going to hold your balls that you have between your legs right there. The next muscle that you're going to be looking at is your front of your thigh, your quadriceps. That's essentially these ones right here. Quadriceps, quads. They're called quadriceps because they have four muscles, hence quad. They straighten your leg like when you kick a ball. When you go forwards like so, they flex and they create a motion forward. So when you kick a ball like so, your quadriceps will flex like so. You have the rectus femoris, the vastus lateralis, the vastus medialis, and the vastus intermedius. I won't go into detail as to where they are, but they are in your quad area. You have them on both legs, so when you flex your legs forward like so, you can see the sweeps of your muscles, aka your quads, working. These are some of the strongest muscles in your entire body. Now, I won't go into too much detail for this in terms of showing you, but you have the back of your thighs. These are called that's right, your hamstrings. They bend your knee like when you bring your heel towards your butt. So if you have your legs straight and then you bring your leg backwards like so, without your hands like so, your hamstrings are pulling your leg backwards. And what is pushing your leg forwards? Your quads. Your hamstrings pull back, your quads push forwards. You have three muscles on the back of your quads. The main ones are called the biceps femoris. I'm going to say this word wrong. You have the semitendinosus and you have the semimembranosus. I didn't say those properly, but those are the three muscles that you have on the backside of your hamstrings. They work opposite to the quads, like I said, like a push-pull team. So your quads push and your hamstrings pull, push, inside ones, what they called. That's right, these are called your adductors. They will hold the ball between your leg, like so. If you're squeezing it, you squeeze your legs together, it will hold whatever's in the center there, like so. That's your adductors working. If you're pushing away something, your quads will work, and if you're pulling towards yourself, that's your hamstring. Now, I won't go into a ton of detail on this one for obvious reasons, but on the back side of your legs, that's back here, you have your butt muscles. They're right below your waist. If this is your waist here, your butt muscles are here, and you can see your hamstrings. They're quite a large muscle. So, what do your butts do? What does your butt do? It helps you stand up, climb stairs, and run. There's 3 muscles in there. You have the gluteus maximus, which is your biggest muscle. So if you look at it in the mirror and you see that big muscle on the backside, that is your gluteus maximus. You also have your smaller muscles, the gluteus medius and the gluteus minimus. They are 3 muscles that work together on your backside to help your legs, your hamstrings, your quads function properly. Like I said, the gluteus maximus, that's the big muscle on the backside, is one of the biggest and strongest muscles in your whole body, almost in comparison to your quads. But your butt muscle definitely is stronger, for your lower portion of your body at least. It can relatively do more output also than your upper body as well. Now, we're going to look at the front of your leg. You have a shin bone. That's this piece right here. This area has muscles like the tibialis anterior, which is anterior being front. And what do your shins do? They lift your foot up, like when you walk and when you don't want to trip. That's the purpose of your shin muscles. They lift your foot up like that. So down, up. This muscle is pulling your foot up, and on the backside, it's pushing your foot down. If the muscles get tired, sometimes people get shin splints. If you have ever gone for a run and you haven't run for a while, you will feel it in the front of your legs, and it's very uncomfortable. So again, these are your shins, the tibialis anterior, the front. These are your quads. These are your hamstrings. And this is your gluteus maximus on the backside. And on your inside here, inner groin, these are your adductors. Now, let's get to the calf muscle. Alright, so we have the back of our leg, hence this is our calf muscle right here. Now, unfortunately, you're either born with calves or you're not. So, that is your calf muscle, as you can see. The more weight you lose, the more they become apparent. And again, like I was saying, this is your calf muscle going up to your hamstring. You can see the distinction line between your quads and your hamstring back to your gluteus maximus. Now, in your calves, you have the gastrocnemius and the soleus. Those are the 2 muscles in your calves. Now, what do your calves do? They help you stand on the tip of your toes, they help you jump, and they help you run. Think about it. When you tiptoe, you're using these muscles, your calves, a lot. They're not being used right now, and when you go up on your calves, you can see the muscles. They flex like so, up, down, up, down. Now, let's move to the foot. Alright, so we now have the foot. What do? They help you balance. They move your toes, and they keep you steady when your feet are planted down on the ground. They are like your tiny helpers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From toes and to keep you steady when you're standing up. Hope that makes sense. So, simple ways to remember what the leg muscles do. You have your inner thigh. These are your adductors. They pull your legs together like so. You have the front of your thigh. That's your quads. They straighten your legs. They straighten them. You have the back of your thigh, your hamstrings. That's these ones right here. And they pull your legs back. You have your gluteus maximus, your glutes. They're the power for standing and running. You have your shin, which helps lift your foot, like so. You have your calves. They help push your feet down and they help pull your feet up. And then you have your feet, which is for balance and control. I hope you learned something today about your legs and the importance of them. Make sure that you take care of your legs.